Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Sophie x Zhalia x Cathy x Scarlet burn, part 2, subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. After a week Naruto, Sophie, and Dante was in Dante's home doing stuff when Naruto said man I am going to go nuts if I don't do anything soon. Dante, who was kneeling at the coffee table with his Harem, looked at Naruto and said this is where I would say be patient, but considering who your mother is I think that's a bit of a tall tale seeing as you do take after her and I am afraid to say that it could take months. I know that so please don't remind me, Naruto said. Hey, Dante, I have an idea, why not show Naruto how to use a Harem, Sophie said as he looked up. But not a bad idea, Sophie, Dante said. Then he opens up the Harem as Sophie and Naruto sat on either side of him, then said now, as you have seen, a Harem is a three-dimensional mapping device, ask it to specify any area. Sure, Harem scan the room, Naruto said, and the Harem did as instructed with 3 of them at the table. Now the range is limited and it can also play them on command, right, Sophie said asked. Right, Dante said. Then to the Harem, now display the house, and it did, showing them where they are in the house. Nice, if I had this thing while I was at school, then I wouldn't have failed geography, Naruto said. Then he sees a figure moving, then said hey, Zhalia's here, so this shows it in real time. That's right, Dante said. What is it with boys and their toys, Zhalia said as she leaned against a pillar. I know it looks cool, but it's no toy anyway, Sophie said. Well, it all depends on who you ask, Naruto said. But the Harem seekers can scan any titan, Sophie said, ignoring Naruto's comment. Well, almost any titan, as it can't scan inner titans unless you use one that was made by an Uzumaki, Dante said. I take it you tried it with her inner titan, Sophie said. Right, we did, and it came back as unknown titan. Then when she uses hers, it told us like normal tome, Dante replied. Then he turned to Naruto and said, and her Harem should be at the Lamberts with the rest of her stuff, so why not give it a try? So, no scanning, mana, Naruto said as he pulls Kiprin's amulet over his head, then said okay, scan this amulet. The Harem scanned the amulet, then said. Kiprin attack. 1. Defense. 2. Type Gaia Titan Scout. Size. Small. Special ability. Flight. Okay, now that is impressive, Naruto said before pulling out his other scannable amulet, then let the Harem scan it. The scanned then amulet, then said. Freelancer attack. 3. Defense. 3. Type. Draco Titan Warrior. Size. Average. Special ability. Defender. As I said, it's cool, but the graphic could be better, Naruto said. I have to agree with him, Zhalia said. Then the Harem said update is required. I can think of a few applications for this thing, Naruto said, thinking of all the pranks he can pull. Most likely prank related, Sophie said. Then the TV turned on, showing a man with blonde hair, and he says, well, I hope I am not interrupting anything. Guggenheim, Dante said. Dante Guggenheim said. Then he sees Zhalia, then said, and is that Zhalia? I haven't seen you since our last mission. You have been? I have been well, thanks, Zhalia said. And there is a couple of new faces, now let me introduce them, Dante said. Then he looks at Sophie and said, here we have Sophie Casterwill. Then he turns to Naruto and Naruto Uzumaki. Here we have Guggenheim of the Hentic Foundation. Well, it nice to make you an acquaintance, Guggenheim said before doing a double take, then asked Wade Uzumaki, as in. Yes, here we have Kushina's son, and I have been teaching him how to be a seeker for the past 2 weeks, same as Sophie here, Dante said before. Then he noticed a worried look on Guggenheim, then said, now what was it you wanted to tell us before you go and warn everyone about Naruto? Oh, right, I have a favor to ask of you. Well, I am investigating a case or two, but if you have a mission that is interesting enough, I might fit it in, Dante said. There has been a large number of whirlpools in the river, saying I will shoot you a file, Guggenheim said. Whirlpools, I take it this is happening in Rouen, Dante said. Of course you're talking about the gargoyle myth, Sophie said. Well, you are a Casterwill indeed, Sophie. Now, as the myth goes, these creature has power over water, and there is more to the myth, Guggenheim said. What do you mean, Naruto asked. Well, seeing as you grew up without your mother to teach you, you see your ancestors used to own an island that was of the coast of Japan, and it was surrounded by whirlpools, thanks to the titan known as Gargoyle. But they was betrayed and the titan was lost, and we promised your mother that if we catch wind of the titan, then we will do all that we can to get it for her, seeing as the titan belongs to her family, Guggenheim said. Well, that's great, we are keeping our word, Dante thought, then said, and if it is Gargoyle, then as it awakens its power could be what's messing with the water. So has anyone been hurt? Not yet, but 2 was almost killed because of it, Guggenheim said. So how can we help, Dante asked. As you know, we stand on a new age of seekers, and that power is discovering that power by the day, Guggenheim said. And while the gargoyle is laid dormant for centuries, you think this new age is what's awakening it, Dante said. Exactly, seeing as it has revealed itself to any other Uzumakis that has been looking for it. So here is the plan: you will go to Rouen and meet an operative whose name is Peter, as he was the one that brought this phenomenon to our attention, so he will serve as your guide and try and retrieve Gargoyle before it falls into the hands of the organization. And hand it over to Naruto. You should be getting the mission now, and the mission is the Legend of the Gargoyle, Guggenheim said, as the hologram showed the file. Dante took the file and placed it in his coat, then said, we will be on the next flight to France. Then good luck to you all, Guggenheim said before the TV turned off. You seem to get all the good missions, how about sharing the wealth, as I happen to know my way around Rouen, Zhalia said. Well, you are coming with us, Dante said before they all left to pack their bags, with Dante driving Zhalia to her house. As they were driving, Dante said, you know you are going to have to tell him. I know, but I have seen the way looks a Casterwill brat, Zhalia replied. I know I have seen the look as well, but I don't think he know it yet either, but I do know that he could love you, Dante said. But I don't want it to feel like it's out of obligation, Zhalia said. And do you think he is the kind of person that will love someone out of obligation, Dante said. I don't know, Zhalia said. And that is why I want you on this team for the moment, so you can get to know your husband, Dante said before stopping, and Zhalia gets out. 2 days later. As the group was walking into the hotel, Naruto said, now this is what I call summer vacation, a trip to France. Naruto, you do know this isn't a vacation, we are on a serious mission, Sophie said. She is right, Naruto, Dante said. Potato, Naruto said. As they was about to desk, the clerk walked around the desk and he said, excuse me, but are you Mr. Vale? That right, I am, Dante said. The clerk then handed Dante a note, then said, this is for you, before walking away. Dante looks at the note, then said, this code, it's the Foundation's most basic code. Naruto walks up behind Dante to see the note and was shocked as it looks familiar and thinks, is that no, it can't be. Then he says, hey, mind if I look at that? Dante hands Naruto the note and said, knock yourself out, and it's from our guide, he is being held by the police. Yeah, and it also says that ours is being held at the 6th police station, that's in the old part of the city, Naruto said. Sophie looks at Naruto, then said in shock, I don't believe it should be impossible to cipher the code that fast. Well, I did translate the first line, Dante said. Plus, it helps that Ethan taught me this when I was a kid, said that I might need it at some point, Naruto said to Sophie. Then he turns to Dante and asks, so how do we get this guy out? Dante, I think it would be best if I do this part alone, Zhalia said. Now just wait, as Sophie said. Well, if you insist, but call if there is trouble, Dante said. Not likely going to happen, but will do if it does, so I will see you in a couple of hours, so in the meantime get Naruto familiar with his new abilities, Zhalia said as she was walking out of the hotel and the other walked to their room. As the group was heading to their room with Naruto carrying Zhalia's stuff, when Sophie asked Dante, what do we know about her? If you're worried about her, then the background check came back all clear, Dante said. She might not be the friendly type, but I like her, Naruto said, then thinks, I just hope what I am feeling doesn't get me into too much trouble. Well, I just don't trust her, Sophie said. Do you know something we don't, Sophie? And beside, trust has to be earned. Also, I know that there are 2 people she would never betray, Dante replied. Who are the 2 people, Dante? Naruto asked. They are you and your mother, Dante answered. My mother I would understand, but why me? Naruto asked. I am sorry, but that is not my thing to say, Dante said. I understand, Naruto said. Then once they got to their room, Naruto put his and Zhalia's stuff away. He said, Mana. Then Mana in her powerless form appeared. Mana looks around, then turns to Naruto and asked, what's going on, Naruto? Well, apparently, I might have powers that is similar to you, Naruto said. That's right, you do, and I have been wondering why it took you this long to ask me for training, Mana said. I forgot about it, Naruto asked. Mana sighed, then said, I know, as when you was told about it you was in the middle of a mission, and then you got yourself a concussion. Then she said, now Naruto, a magician needs a magical conduit to be able to perform spell like my staff. Now to get one it must be manifested, and to manifest it, you will need to meditate it, and Naruto did, as instructed. After an hour Naruto finally manifested his magical object, which was a greenish-blue metal staff, can't really describe it, but look up Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi's dark magician. Then he turns to Mana, then said, so is there any spells you can teach me? Mana shakes her head, then said, unfortunately no, but true magicians like yourself will gain spells at random times. So how will I know when I get my first spell? Naruto asked. The magical book known as a grimoire will appear in front of you, Mana replied. Cool, Naruto said. Then Dante comes, then said, just got word Zhalia has the guide and wants to meet us at the park, so time to go. Then he noticed the staff, then said, so you have done it? That's right, I have, but unfortunately, I can't use any spells until I get a grimoire appears, so let's get going while I wait for it to appear, Naruto said. Then he turns to Mana and said, thanks for the help, Mana. Not a problem, Mana said before Naruto recalled her. Then the staff disappears, then the trio left the hotel. As they was waiting in the park, they saw Zhalia and someone that looks like a bird watcher walking toward them. Then Dante said, "I see you made it here without another incident." "Was there any doubt?" Zhalia said. Then Dante turns to Peter and said, "There isn't much time, so we are going to need you to tell us what happened." Peter looks at Zhalia, then said, "Before I tell you that, I am going to need a few minutes." Naruto and Sophie walks over and Naruto said the guy looks like he saw something he only dreamed of before too, didn't think would happen before today. "What's make you so sure?" Dante asked. "Because I have seen it time and again," Naruto replied. "Let me guess, there was a few people that thought that they was above getting pranked and you pranked them," Zhalia said. "I am neither admitting or denying that accusation, but yeah," Naruto said. "In other words, he did it," Zhalia said. "Well, there was no proof that I did or didn't do it, I just got blamed for it because they refused to believe I don't dye my hair," Naruto said. "I will talk to him," Sophie said before walking over to Peter. They said, "Hey Peter, my friend thinks that today you saw something he only dreamed of before too, didn't think would happen. I work for the Foundation and sure I knew about Titans, but to actually see one, and I knew it was only a matter of time before I did. I get it, it can be overwhelming. I think the only person that wouldn't be overwhelmed would be Naruto," Sophie said, as she points to Naruto. Peter looks to where Sophie was pointing to and saw the red-haired teen looking over at them and waved without a care in the world. Then he said, "You're right, he does seem like the type that never takes anything too seriously." "You're right about that, but on our last mission he got injured and ended up with a concussion and he still invoked a Titan and saved us," Sophie said. "And what does that have to do anything?" Peter asked. "Would you believe me if I said that he had known about this world a matter of days now? We are getting off subject, the point is we know what we are doing," Sophie said. "Well, Miss Attitude spooks me," Peter said. "If it makes you feel better, I am not so sure about her either, but we are here to protect you, so Peter, we really need you to take us to the cave of the gargoyle." Meanwhile, as Sophie and Peter was chatting, Dante said, "What happened to you?" "What are you talking about?" Zhalia said. "It being where you were make you forget Kushina's training?" Dante asked. "No, I just had to learn to lock my emotions up," Zhalia said. "And because it's been so long you forgot how to open up," Dante said. "That's right," Zhalia said. Then she notices Naruto looking around, then she asked Naruto, "Are you alright?" "I am, but I something seems, and not in a good way," Naruto said before looking over at the pond. "Then we are properly running out of time," Sophie said. Then there was a little rustling, making the Foundation team to look over and sees 3 suits walking over, and one of them said, "Oh, you have no idea on how right you are, little lady," and it wasn't long before they were surrounded. "As we are in a public place, so don't use your," Dante said. Then he turned to Sophie and said, "Sophie, protect our guide." Then faces Naruto, "Naruto, if your Grimmer appears and you get a spell that doesn't draw too much attention, use it." The suits then laughed. Then one of them said, "We are here to take you to Defo, so if you come with us with no problems, then no one will get hurt," which got Naruto laughing. Then the man said, "What is so funny?" Naruto looks at the suit, then said, "You not wanting to fight, why is that? Is it because you don't want to be embarrassed when you your supervisors that you lost to a rookie seeker? Suit yourself." Then the suit said, then he shouted, "Get them." "Dodge your frost," several suits said, which Dante and Zhalia dodged. One suit walks up to Naruto then said, "Well kid, I would say that you are out of luck." "You sure? Because I have excellent luck," Naruto before charging at the suit, which Naruto easily beat. Then when a second guy charged at Naruto, who stepped to the side making the suit run into a tree. Then Chariot popped out the bag then said, "Well done Naruto, the way you moved, I would say that you practice martial arts." Naruto nods then said, "That's right, I did, and that's why they underestimated me, plus it's always good to know." Dante walked up behind Naruto and said, "Well, either way, well done taking on your first suit." "Thanks anyway," Naruto said. "Dante, Peter's hurt," Sophie said. "We need get moving, as there could be more suits be here," Zhalia said. Sophie then faces Peter then said, "Peter, why don't you tell Dante what you told me?" "Alright, I will tell them what I know. There is this special investigator, and he's somehow forced to tell him about the cave of the gargoyle," Peter said. "And let me guess, his name was Defo," Naruto said. "That's right, it was." "Then we are already too late," Dante said. "Not quite, Dante, after all now this mission just got interesting," Naruto said with a grin. "He is right, Dante, after all I just gave them the geranial area, and unless you know what you are looking you could be looking for hours," Peter said as he was cleaning his glasses. "Well then, looks like the race has just began, so what is the fastest way to get to the cave of the gargoyle?" Dante asked. "By boat, and I can show you where you can hire one," Peter replied before leading the team to a rent-a-boat shack. After filling out the paperwork, the team was on the move with Dante driving, and along the way Sophie said, "Now you have seen firsthand what we are dealing with the organization. And believe me, I know how you feel," Naruto said. "How so?" Peter asked. "Up until 2 weeks ago I was a normal guy getting into trouble because of the asshole that are the teachers, all because they don't believe me about my heart," Naruto said. "Well, actually you were never normal because of your heritage," Naruto Zhalia said. Oh, right, there is something I would like to ask you. Earlier Auntie said that you would never betray me or my birth mother. My mother, I understand being the one that trained you, but I don't understand why me, Naruto said asked. Don't worry about that for the moment, Zhalia said, as she looks at Dante glaring at him with a light blush on her face, making the man chuckle a little. I will get you to tell me why that is at some point, Zhalia, Naruto said before turning to face Peter and ask, so Peter, how did you end up with the foundation? Then Peter started to tell them how he joined. As Peter was telling his story, Zhalia was taking glimpse at Naruto and thinking, if you are like your mother, then I will have to tell him, and soon she said, well, considering what you just lived, though I thought you respected adversity, as well as the ability to bring it. The Peter said we should be coming up in the cave now. Then Naruto, Sophie, and Zhalia stood up and gasped as there was 3 whirlpools in front of them. Hold on, Dante said before taking drastic measures. While Dante was driving, everything around Naruto seemed to be slowing down. Then Naruto looked around and said, what the fuck is going on here? As he was looking around, he then sees a stone gargoyle-like titan, then thinks that has to be Gargoyle. Then the titan said, greetings master, I am the titan known as Gargoyle, the guardian of the island Yuzusho, until I was taken now to stop the whirlpools that I created is to put blood in the water, and I hope to be with an Uzumaki soon. Then he disappears. The moment the titan disappeared, time resumed its normal pace. Naruto then said, better idea than nothing. Then he bit his finger, hurt enough to draw blood, then he lets a few drop hit the water. As Naruto was leaning over the boat, Sophie said, Naruto, why on earth would you bit your own finger? Then the moment the blood hit the water they died down. Then the teen girl said asked, how did you know that would work? Your ghoul told me, Naruto said. But that's not possible, Sophie said. Sophie, take it from me, when it come to an Uzumaki expect the unexpected, Zhalia said. She is right, Sophie, as I have seen Kushina invoke Caliban and chatted with titans that wasn't bonded to her, Dante said. Then he stops the boat near the edge, then they all jump out of the boat. Then the veteran seeker turns to Naruto and said, thanks for listening to Gargoyle, now we can get our deposit back. Think nothing of it. So did you spot anything before I calmed the water? Naruto said asked. What makes you sure I saw something? Dante asked. Because you wouldn't be known as a legend if you was sloppy, Naruto said. Dante smiles, then said, you're right, did notice something, and it's around here. Then Peter started to look around the base, while Zhalia looked elsewhere. After a few seconds, Peter said, you're right, these stones have been washed away by high-powered water. Zhalia then walked over to the ledge, then said, and there is a cave over here. Then the others started to climb up to cliff. Once they were at the top, Peter said, this grove is so well hidden that it would have taken me forever to find it if I was looking for it by land. But that means we still have a chance, so let's go, Dante said, then started to walk up. Hey Dante, why don't we use the hologram to scan the inside of the cave when we get inside? Naruto said. Exactly, and I will leave that task to you, Dante said, as he reached inside his jacket and pulls out the hologram, and before he could pass it over there was an explosion, so he chucks it to Naruto, then said, let's get going. They all run toward the source. Once inside the cave, they began looking around. When they enter a cavern, Dante said, bolt flare, and shot it up. Then the cavern was lit up. Upon seeing the lit up cavern, Peter then said, this has got to be the largest cavern I have ever seen. Then in front of them some sort of pedestal rose up from the water. They walked over to it, completely unaware that the statues was moving. Then they shot water at the group of 5, make them all scatter. Then one, then shot water at Sophie, then said honor guard, but the pressure of the water made the caster Willaire move back, making her grant. At that sped water can feel like a bullet, Dante said. Then Defo, who was standing on a gargoyle's head, revealed himself by saying, well, I am one step ahead. Well, getting past the dreaded gargoyle was not an easy task. Now let's see if you can get past that while fighting us at the same time. Then once again they were surrounded, and a few of them had already invoked their titans. Should I talk to him, as I think there is some family resemblance, Chariot said. Naruto noticed the gargoyle's head moved, then said, there is no time, Chariot, everyone move. Then everyone dodged the stream of water. Alright team, it's time to get our titans into gear, Dante said before his eyes had a blue glow to them. Caliban, Solwing. No need to tell me twice, Dante, Naruto said before gaining a pink glow, then said, it's time to play Dark Magician Girl, Freelancer. Sophie had a peach glow, then she said Sabriel. Zhalia then had a green glow, then she said Garion, Kilthane. Then moment the 7 titans had appeared. The military guy said engage the enemy, then T was a free for all between the Foundation and the organization. After a few minutes of spells flying and titans brawling, Sabriel was hit by a stream of water that was fired by the gargoyle, making her disappear and go back to her amulet, making Sophie distracted. Then 2 Redcap was charging at her. Naruto sees this, then said, Mana, protect Sophie. On it, Mana said before going over to and taking out the 2 Redcaps. Naruto was looking around, then said, this is getting ridiculous. I know we also need to get past the suit before Defo gets the Titan. Then he glowed green, then said Takram, then aimed it at the water, making it split and making the suits fall over. Then his legs had a reddish orange glow as he said nimble fire, then ran across the lake and in the process took out 2 suits. Then he jumped but was taken to when the gargoyle shot water at him. Dante, you okay? Naruto said. Dante emerged from the water then said, I'm fine. Before we can do anything we have to take out that gargoyle. Then he pulls out this 3rd amulet. The said, good thing I have a flyer. Then his body gained a green glow. Then he said, I need you. Then the Titan appeared and attached itself to Naruto. Then he flew up to the gargoyle at the same time as Kilthane was taken out by 2 Redcap. Naruto was flying around the statue. Then he said, I need a better plan. Then he looks at the suits. Then he gains a smirk. Then he floated the suits. As the gargoyle was trying to hit Naruto, it was taking out the suits. As Naruto was flying past them, unfortunately, well, in the process Kiprin got hit, but a get of water making Naruto fall to the ground. Then he get up and heads a safe location. He pulls out the hologram then said, is there even a Titan there? Meanwhile with Dante, Grier and 2 suits was walking up to Dante when Grier said, give up Dante Veil before someone gets hurt. You are right, Grier, there might be more of you, Dante said as he was pulled out an amulet out from the water. Then said, but none are more mightier than Metagolem, making Grier's eyes go wide. Then the organization operatives backed up a bit before they ran. Back with Naruto, he had the hologram on. Then he said, hologram, scan that statue. The hologram scanned the statue then said, no Titan found. Ah, I knew it, Naruto said. Then he looks over to see Metagolem waking up to break her and help Caliban defeat it. Then Naruto said, Sophie, come over here quickly. Once Sophie was by Naruto, she asked, what do you need? That statue isn't a Titan, it must be a seeker tape to stop anyone getting the Titan, Naruto said. But you just learned how to use that thing, but then again you wouldn't lie about something like that, Sophie said. Right, and I can't hear a voice from the statue, Naruto said. Well, if you say so, Sophie said before noticing the statue taking aim at them, then goes over, then gains a blue glow. Then she said, just as the stream of water was about to hit her break spell, then the steam receded and once it hit the statue it exploded. Now that is one nifty spell, I hope I can learn it one day, Naruto said. Well, I am afraid to say that they are a Casterwill family spell, and I can only teach them to an outsider when I get married, but the spell I used can cancel any spell trap there is, Sophie said. Oh well, that's a shame, and I hope the person you want to marry treat you right, Naruto said. Oh, you care about me, Sophie said with a teasing tone. Well, of course I care about you, Sophie, Naruto said, making the girl blush a little. Then the duo went and regrouped with Dante and Zhalia. Once everyone had regrouped, Dante said, Zhalia, Naruto, Sophie, you 3 stay here and keep Grier and his men occupied. I will go and get Defo Caliban. Then his legs glowed blue. Then he said, hyper stride before jumping to the chamber that holds the Titan with Caliban following him. Then Grier and his men was backing up as the 3 seekers was walking up to him, while Sophie said, I am not sure about you 2, but I don't want to let Dante down. Got that right, Naruto said. Alright, take it easy, Grier said before saying, alright men, retreat. With Dante, who just entered the chamber just as Defo said, I wonder if those fools have dealt with Dante and the brats yet. If I had to guess, I would say they haven't, Dante said while leaning against the wall. This time it is you that is too late, Dante Veil, for I have already bonded with Gargoyle, Defo said. Is that so? Then I guess Naruto will be disappointed as he will have to wait to get it back, Dante said. Ah yes, the Uzumaki who is unaware of his real secret potential, Defo said. Anyway, seeing as it's just you and me, so let's get this over, Dante said. You seem to have forgotten I am never alone, Defo said. Manifest Gargoyle. Then the stone gargoyle manifested. Then Defo said, now Gargoyle, destroy them with all your power. Then Gargoyle sucked in a lot of water, then shot it at Dante. Hyperstride, Dante said, do dodge the water attack. Then he charged at the Titan and went under it, distracting it for Caliban to get in a good hit that he was in front of Defo. Then he said, you're no fighter, Defo, I and take you down long before the Titan can help you. Defo looks to see Gargoyle beginning to glow. Then he said, I see your point. Then Gargoyle glowed purple as Defo said Gargoyle return, making Dante look behind him. Then he took that moment to run through the back door. Sorry Defo, you're not getting away that easily, Dante said as he was about to ran after him before he noticed there was a stream coming down the exit and was splashed. Then he groaned, well, that's just great, just as the other was walking into the chamber. Upon seeing Dante wet, Sophie said, what happened here? Unfortunately, Defo got away with Gargoyle, Dante said. Then he turns to Naruto and said, sorry about I failed. Naruto, who was looking around the chamber, just waved it off, then said, no worries, seeing as Defo did have a head start, plus we can't get them all the time. You mean to tell us that all our work was for nothing and the organization won, Sophie said. This isn't some fairy tale, we win some and we also lose some, Zhalia said. This as awful, Sophie said. Naruto was still looking around the chamber, then said see something odd, one of the gargoyles was holding 2 items instead of 1, so he walks up to it, then said guys I hate ruin the pity party, but I think there is more to Thin's mission than we originally thought. What makes you say that Naruto? Dante asked. Look at all the gargoyles in the chamber and tell me do you see anything odd, Naruto replied. Everyone looks at the gargoyles, then Sophie said we don't see anything odd, so just give up seeing, as we lost. Well, all of them is holding one thing except for this one, and it looks hollow, Naruto said. It probably was damaged in the fight, but here is some water, Zhalia said, as she handed Naruto a canteen. Thanks Zhalia, Naruto said, as he took the canteen, then he pours the waster into a vase, then the gargoyle moved revealing a hidden passageway. I don't believe it, there's a secret passageway, Sophie said. Well done Naruto, I had a feeling there was more to this cave than what we can see, but I probably would have taken a bit longer to figure it out, Dante said. More meaning what? Sophie asked. Sometimes secrets are more powerful than any titan, Dante said before turning to Naruto and said, and that is something Naruto just found out. Well I think it's just beginner's luck, Zhalia said. I am sorry I doubted you, Naruto, Sophie said. Well, with how Yo was a minute ago I understand, so enough with the apologies already, I want to explore down there because I want to know what is down there, Naruto said. Well you are not the only one, so let's go, Dante said as he led the team down the secret passageway. As the group was going down the stairs, then once they were at the bottom Dante held out hand then said bolt flare, then they continued going down the tunnel. As they was walking Naruto noticed some cobwebs, they said there are cobwebs everywhere. Sophie then looks at Naruto and said in a joking tone, I don't know why you are complaining, considering that your locker is full of them. Naruto looks at Sophie then in mock surprise and said in the same joking manner, how did you know that considering you haven't seen inside it? Then the 2 teens started to laugh, then Dante said quite this hallway is some sort of trap before walking through the hallway with Peter following. As Peter was walking through the hallway, he stops to look at some writing, then said this is ancient French, I can translate it, then he reaches into his bag and pulls out his flashlight. Dante quickly turns to Peter and said Peter don't do it, but it was too late as Peter turned on his light and the light hit a crystal and it shot a beam which triggered the trap, which was the floor opening trap, and Dante said as he pulled Peter thought the door, everyone moved then as they was making their way. Sophie and Zhalia made it through the door, but Naruto wasn't so lucky. As Naruto was falling down the trap he was about summon Kiprin when suddenly there was a ball of light and a pure white book that had a slight glow to it was there, the attuned a few pages. And there was a whole page of unreadable too. Naruto looked at it, then said the flight spell, well better than nothing, that he said, then he gains a golden aura, then he stops, then he said okay, I stop now, time to get out of here before the floor closes, then he shot up and he made it out of the trap just in time. Then moment Naruto landed the aura and disappeared and he collapsed, then Zhalia said Naruto are you okay? Yeah I am fine, but I am a bit tired, Naruto said. Dante seized the book then said I see you have your grimoire that Mana told you about. Yeah, I did, and the first spell in it was a flight spell, Naruto said, as the grimoire shrank and went to Naruto's wrist and made itself a bracelet with Naruto's staff on it. I see, well I can say that either you use too much magic in the spell or it naturally uses a lot of magic, Dante said. No need to tell me, as I am feeling the drain and I think it's the second one, Naruto said as he was trying to stand up. I am so sorry Mr. Vale, I honestly didn't know, Peter said. No need to worry Peter, we know you're not a seeker, so you know what you're getting into, Dante said. You know sometimes the same could be said for Naruto, Sophie said. Enough, Princess Naruto was destined to be a seeker, even though Kushina-sensei didn't want him in this world, but she also knew that something would happen that will make him come to this world. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. Zhalia said. And why are you so protective of him after all? It's not like you're into him, Sophie asked, said getting a blush from the female. Whether I do or not, it's none of your concern, Zhalia said. Know where this was going? Naruto turned to Dante and said, hey Dante, I'm wondering why did the flashlight trigger the trap and not bolt flare? Yeah, why is that, Dante? Sophie asked, forgetting her disagreement with Zhalia. Smart, Naruto asking that not only because you want to know why, but to stop what was about to happen. Dante thought, then he said bolt flare is a magical light I was able to pass was because only seekers are allowed to be here. Cool, and why is that, Dante? Naruto asked. If I had to hazard a guess it might be because this place was once a secret base for seekers before the foundation or the organization was even founded, Dante said as he opened a door. Sophie runs up to a statue and asked, is that Joan of Arc? She must have been the last seeker that used this place, Dante said as he was walking up to a desk. Joan of Arc was a seeker? Naruto asked. Well, if she did was a seeker then that might explain something, Pierre said. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Well, according to legend Joan of Arc has visions of the future, so that might have been because of a power unique to her or maybe a titan, Peter said. Joan of Arc was one of the most powerful women in all of history, and she died a few miles from here, Sophie said, and, as she was looking at another statue, she said, you know, they say that she was a descendant from French royalty. Then it must have been her regal blood, because from what Master sometimes said, sometimes great power can come from a noble family name, even like a name like yours, Zhalia said, which got a nasty look from the caster will. Naruto looks at Chariot, who was sitting on a sword, and asked, what's with those two anyway? Naruto, I have been around long before human history, and if there is one thing I learned, if that no male will ever understand women, Chariot said. As Sophie and Zhalia was having a staring contest, Dante said, these are her notes, as well as the key to what we do next, then he put them in his jacket. What do you mean, Dante? Sophie asked. Well, we'll find out tomorrow, for now let's call it a day, Dante said. Then they left the secret base. Then next morning everyone was in the library doing their own thing when Dante said, as he booted up his holodeck, alright team, it looks like Joan left us a map, and with some luck, it will lead us to an artifact that is said to be buried somewhere in Paris. What's so important about this artifact, Dante? Naruto said, as he was playing chess with Chariot. The artifact is a mystical ring that I think it has something to do with her legendary ability, and our mission is to mysteries of the Paris catacombs. We need to find the secret entrance and explore the underground tombs and come back with the ring of Joan of Arc, Dante said. Well, that sounds easy, but there is more to it than that, Naruto said. You're right, the map only shows us the underground, so we are going to find and trance ourselves, Dante said. There has to be a clue or two so we can find it, Sophie said. Right, and the clue is it can be seen through the eyes of the most beloved lady, Dante said. So who is the most beloved lady in France? Naruto said, as he was thinking of an answer. Not is, but was, Sophie said. Alright, but how are supposed to measure love? Zhalia said. By the number of people who loved her, it's a riddle, the lady loved by all, Sophie said then in a thoughtful tone. Our Lady. And in French that would be? Dante asked. Sophie gasped, then she turns to Dante, said Notre Dame means Our Lady. Then the building of Notre Dame appeared on the holodeck, and Sophie said a cathedral of Notre Dame. Nice, Sophie, I didn't know that. I guess my history isn't as good as it can be, Naruto said. You think because we know it isn't, Sophie said. And it the same with chess, Chariot said, as he moved a piece, then said checkmate, making Naruto groan. Well team, we are going to Paris, Dante said. The next day the group was standing in front of Notre Dame when Dante opened the holodeck, and Guggenheim was on it, and he said, ah Dante, I see you made. Guggenheim, have they found anything inside the cathedral? Dante asked. Notre Dame has been a base of operation for decades too. We have yet to find anything of the Ring of Arc, Guggenheim said. That makes me even more suspicious, Dante said. Behind him Naruto said, now that is cool, I wish my calling plan had a holodeck selection. Now Dante, be careful because the organization is on the move, Guggenheim said. Thanks for the tip, Guggenheim, Dante said before closing the holodeck. If Our Lady is referring to the cathedral, then what does Notre Dame see, and where are the eyes on a cathedral? Sophie asked, walking up to Dante. It's the statues, the statue has eyes, Naruto said before walking up to the cathedral. Well done, Naruto, Chariot said following behind Naruto. We found the clue in the cave of the gargoyle, Naruto said. Right, and so one of them must be looking at the place that we need, Dante said as he walked up to Naruto. Now the question is, which one do we need? Sophie asked. Then, as they was looking, she added, as there are so many. Then Naruto noticed one, then, as he pointed at one, then said, there, that one. Remember how we found that secret passage? Come on, let's see what that gargoyle is looking at. So Naruto, you up for a little climb? Dante said to Naruto. 10 minutes later both Naruto and Dante was climbing up the cathedral, and Dante said, just keep climbing, we are almost there. Then when he got to a ledge he flipped himself up onto it, then he looks down at Naruto as he was right behind him, then he says, if I remember quickly, Kushina told me that for an Uzumaki to use a seeker spell, then they will need to know what it called. As well as what it can do, and after a minute Naruto was there with him, then he said, now Naruto, before relook, there is a spell I am about to teach you, and it's all hyperstride, and it allows the caster to increase their speed and agility, so they are able to stuff like this. Then he runs over to the edge, then said, as a blue aura was around his legs, hyperstride, then he jumps of the ledge. And onto the wall opposite, and jumps back, then he said, now you try it. Okay, let's do this, Naruto said before he did the same before saying hyperstride, and then on his way back the spell failed. Then before Naruto could summon his Grimoire, Dante grabbed him and pulled him back on the ledge. Once Naruto was on the ledge, Dante said could use some work, but not bad for a beginner. You think so? Well, maybe next time we do this on ground floor, Naruto said. Fair enough, now how about you look for where we need to go, Dante said as he handed Naruto his tool. Thanks, Naruto said as he took the tool. Then, as he was looking though it and said not see much, but if it was that easy to spot, then it wouldn't be a secret entrance. So what do I know about Joan of Arc apart from she was a religious person? Then he spots the roof of a church. I spy with my little eyes a church. Then that is where we start, Dante said before the duo climbs down. When Dante and Naruto met with the girl, Sophie asked, so did you find the next clue? Dante nods, then said we do, and we are heading to a church. Then they headed for the church. When they got to the church they see it was closed, and Dante said it looks like it's been closed and has been for a while. Then allow me, Naruto said, as he pulls out his lockpicks, and a few seconds later he said there we go. We're breaking in, Sophie asked. Of course not, we are merely unlocking the door, Dante said, as Naruto unhooked the chain. It's something a real seeker should know what to do, Zhalia said. And what would that be, breaking into a church? Sophie asked. No, it's how to get the job done no matter the obstacle, Zhalia said. I am a real seeker, Zhalia, or did you forget that I am the heiress to the Casterwill family, and you will not speak to me like that, Sophie said, who was facing the other way. Zhalia then turns to Sophie and was about to say something when Naruto got between them and said, hey, can you two get a grip, we are about to do something dodgy, so can you please not draw attention to us. Then they entered. As they were looking around, Sophie said, are you sure this is the right place, because I am not really seeing anything. I have a feeling that we will know it when we see it, Dante said before looking at a painting. Zhalia was entered what looking like a bell tower, then she said, hey guys, do you know where the gargoyle of Our Lady was looking at? It was looking at the cross that is on top of the church, Naruto said. Then come and take a look because the cross is at the top of this bell tower, Zhalia said. Then they all went into the bell tower. As Sophie walking into the bell tower, she said, how is there sunlight coming straight down? Reflection, there is a mirror up there so it's reflecting light down, Dante said. As well as the gargoyle's gaze, Naruto said. Now that makes sense because of the crystal trap, it also worked of reflection. Then they heard a bang. You three stay here, Dante said before leaving to investigate the source of the explosion, and upon seeing it was the organization then turns back to the team. Then he said, find a way to open the door, I will buy you sometime. Then he walks out. When he was in the main hall he said, hello, are you people looking for me? Well, Dante veils still as confidence as ever, even you can beat this many of us on your so surrender, and I will bring you to the professor in chains, as well as the Uzumaki kid, Defo said. I am wonder about you, Defo, do you really think you can take me anywhere without a fight? Also, why do you want Naruto? Dante said. Does it really matter why we want to the kid, and also this is a fight you can't win, Defo said, as Grier walked up to Dante. Then he said, on my mark, attack him, this time you won't escape, Dante veil. Back in the bell tower, Naruto and Sophie was looking at the floor, and Sophie said, how are we going to open this, as it's a marble slab? Naruto then starts looking around and said, there has to be something around here that opens it. Back in the hall, Dante said, then why not take me on yourself if you're that confident? Your physical skills are nothing when compared to my power, Defo said. Is that so? Then why did you turn tail and ran when we faced off in the cave of the gargoyle, and you even left your own men behind, so why not fight me one-on-one, Dante taunted. Then the wind picked up as Dante said, come Defo, show your men what type of lead you really are. Back in the bell tower, Sophie said, what are we going to do because he is badly outnumbered? I am going out there to help, Zhalia said. No, he said to stay here so we can get the entrance open, plus he might have a plan, Naruto said. Back in the hall, Defo said, as he held up the amulet to Gargoyle, fine, plus I think my new friend want to have a rematch. Then, as it began to glow, he said, Gargoyle. If you want to have a rematch, I will gladly give it to you, Dante said. Then he holds up his trusted titan and said, Caliban. Then the moment warrior martialized the gargoyle titan attack, then Caliban then kicked the stone titan, sending it flying, making Defo run to the wall with Dante. As the two men was string each other down, Defo pulls out another amulet, then said Redcap. Then the titan starts to swipe at Dante, making him back up to the altar, and he picks up a candle stand and whacks the Redcap, and in that moment he jumps in the seat and jump onto the next one as a Redcap was swiping at him. Then Defo said, for all your talk, you're the one running scared, Dante veil. Back in the bell tower, Naruto turned to Sophie and said, you know how the first trap worked, the one that Peter accidentally set off it, as only a seeker's light would let us pass. What if it the same concept here? But that will be alerting the suits to our location, Sophie said. I know that, but it's the only thing we can do because we don't have the time, and we don't know how long Dante can stall them for, Naruto said. Zhalia, still looking out into the hall, said, I have to agree because Dante is starting to lose. If we do this we only have one shot because, as soon as I cast the spell they will be all over us, Sophie said. Just do it, Sophie, because we are out of time, Naruto said. Fine, but remember this was your idea, Sophie said before saying ray pulse, and upon hitting a mirror it got reflected back down and hitting the slab and opening it, unknowingly releasing a light, and Zhalia runs over. Back in the hall, Grier sees the light and said, men, this way. Dante then gasps, then said, as he runs over across the hall hyperstride. Then once in the bell tower he jumps in the entrance. As Dante was running down the tunnel, Zhalia asked, are we fight the organization here? No, our priority is the Ring of Arc because if it, as powerful as I think it is, then we might need it to fight the organization, Dante replied. Then he turns and said Takram, which caused a cave in. Why is the ring so important? What is it? Sophie asked. I am not sure, but some of the most powerful Titan are sealed inside rings, Dante said, as he pulled out his hologram and pulled up the map. So you think this ring could be a legendary Titan? Sophie asked, and Dante hummed in agreement as the group started to walk. Then she said, we must be in the Paris catacombs. Correct. The researchers at the Foundation believe that there are a lot of secret tomes that have yet to be discovered, Dante said. Well, that is until now, Naruto said. As the group was following Dante when he suddenly said stop, something isn't right in this room. After a few minutes, then chose a path. As the group was walking down the path, they passed some crystals, and Dante said the notes say to pass, touch the gem of light, and those that are pure can pass. Then he touched a gem, and a light appeared. Blimey, Joan of Arc really like using crystals for traps, didn't she? Naruto said. Well, she did have visions, remember, it's called seeing the light for a reason, Sophie said. Then behind her, Zhalia was running up to the group when suddenly there was a little cave in making the heiress, said Zhalia. Hang on, Zhalia, we will get you out of here as soon as we can, Naruto said, as he and Dante was moving the rocks. No, I can get free, I don't need your help, I said. Stop, Zhalia said. Sophie then pulls Zhalia and said, we are in this together no matter what our differences are. Dante and Naruto were by a big rock, and Dante said on the count of 3 we move the rock. Then he counted, and they both managed to move the rock. You okay there, Zhalia? Naruto asked, as Zhalia was standing up. Yeah, I am fine, can we just go? Zhalia said, as she dusted herself before they all walked off. When the group got a bigger hallway, they had a brief stop for Dante to look at the map, then he said alright, the room should just up ahead. Naruto looks to the side and sees a puzzle box and walks up to it and said, as he walked into the room, I have seen something like that before. As Naruto walked into the room, Sophie said, Naruto, wait, we are supposed to follow him map. I know that, I just want something to do for later, Naruto said, as he picked up the puzzle, unleashing a trap which a gate sealed Naruto in the room, and spikes came out of the walls. Then he said, oh come on. Then he looks at the puzzle, then said maybe. Then he starts to solve it. I can't watch, Sophie said, as she buries her head into her hands. Zhalia then walks up to the gate and growls, then said he's finished. Then she turns to Dante then said, and why aren't you helping? Because he lost the luck of the devil, Dante said, as he remembered a few times that Sandra wrote to him, saying that Naruto was banned from a few gambling dens that he had managed, and later was sent in by the police on the condition that he keeps the winnings. Zhalia growls at Dante, then she shouted, I don't care if he is that lucky, what I want is for you to get my husband out of here. When she realized what she had said, she went red, as she looked at Naruto, who was looking at her, hit his jaw to the floor. Then she said, don't you have something else to worry about? Oh right, Naruto said before going back to the puzzle. Dante looks at Zhalia and said, I thought you wanted to tell him when it was just the two of you. It just slipped out, now help him, Zhalia said. Okay, now lend up strength, Dante said, as he pulls out an amulet. Then he said, Metagolem. Then he said, we have to, Naruto. Then the golem charged at the gate a few times before having to go back into its amulet. Just as the walls was about to impale Naruto, he solved the puzzle which rest the room. Then the box began to glow in an ice blue color. Then it formed an amulet. Then a fox-like titan appeared in his hand, and the titan said with a feminine voice, hello master, and thank you for freeing me. Then she went back into the amulet. Naruto then went over to the group and said the puzzle had a titan, and she bonded with me while I was solving the puzzle, then handed the amulet to Dante. Well done, Naruto, now let's take a look at your new friend, Dante said. Then he placed it on the hologram, and he said, well, looks like you found Springer. This titan liked to solve complex puzzles and intricate trap, you two have something in common. Then there was an explosion. Then he said, as they began to run, time to go, the organization is catching up with us because of our little delay. Sorry about that, Naruto said. Then he looks to Zhalia then said, and me, and you will be having a chat when this is over. Then he turns to Dante, then asked, is this why you said that Zhalia wouldn't betray me? Don't worry about it, these things happen. And that's right, Dante said. Then they came up to a door. Then Dante said, as he opened the door, the ring of arc, and it's not over yet, because I think Joan would have placed a trap to protect the ring. Then, as they was walking through the room, there was suits of armor against the wall when suddenly their weapons began to glow and circle the group, and Sophie asked, is this the organization? I don't think so, I think this is the trap Dante mentioned, Naruto said. You're right, this is the Knight's inner circle, so that means hand-to-hand titans only, Dante said. Then he pulls out an amulet and said, Caliban. Freelancer, Naruto said. Sabriel, Sophie said. Filthane, Zhalia said, and the moment all the titans was summoned, the weapons attacked. After a few minutes, Freelancer was taken out, and Naruto said, this is bad. Maybe there is another way, Sophie said. Then try anything, Naruto said. Break spell, Sophie said, and the spell hit two weapons, and it made them turn to them. I know I said try anything, but I think you made it worse, Naruto said. Dante then grabbed one of the weapons, and it made him the suit of armor, and it flicked him across the room, and another weapon had pinned Naruto, and, as it was about to stab him, the teen said hyper stride, and, as he leaped he hit a suit armor, and a sword just hit the ground, then Kilthane disappeared, followed shortly by Sabriel. Regroup everyone, then they formed a circle, then the weapons did, as well. Nothing we do is working, Naruto said. Anyone got any other ideas, Sophie asked. I do have one which Naruto gave me, Dante said. Then he grabs a weapon and kicks the helmet of his suit, then a maze fell to the ground, then he said target the knight, not the weapons. The armor is the source of the enchantment, so that means, Sophie said before she said break spell, and the spell then hit in suit, and it fell collapse, and fell apart upon hitting the ground, and a sword hit the ground. It's working, keep it up, Dante said. Then for the next 5 minutes was Sophie casting. To the side, Zhalia had pulled Naruto to have a chat, and she said, Naruto, I am sorry I didn't tell you sooner, I was waiting for the right moment. It's fine, but tell me, how are you, and I married, Naruto asked. It happened when you was baby, and Kushina was teaching he how to be a seeker, and she told me about the binding spell that is unique to the Uzumakas, and it is basically a marriage bond, and I didn't listen to her, and activated the spell, but because of the uniqueness of the binding spell it can activate on more than one time. And because of this the Uzumakas was allowed to have a harem, Zhalia said. I see, so that's why you are kinder to me than Sophie and Dante, Naruto said. Yes, Zhalia said, as the last of the trap was removed and Sophie collapsed. Sophie, you okay, Naruto asked. She just used too many spells, so a good rest and she will be fine, Chirrut said. The organization, they are here, so we have to leave with that ring, Zhalia said before running to the ring and grabbed a spear along the way and breaking the glass case. Then Naruto went to grab the ring. Dante see what Naruto was doing, quickly said no don't, but it was too late as Naruto had grabbed the ring. The moment Naruto grabbed a ring he had a vision. The first was an older man wearing a white suit and the top of his head was bald, then there was Dante doing something followed by an army of redcaps, then there was a golden light which turned into Ethan, after that it was the man again. And his hand had a golden glow to it, then he saw 4 girls all in wedding dresses. Naruto couldn't see their faces due to the veil covering them, but he can see their hair, and one girl had strawberry blonde hair, another girl had midnight blue hair, the third girl had blonde hair, and the last girl had red hair. Then the vision changed to a retied woman who was around Dante's age. And she's sleeping. Then an orange orb appeared, then it turned into a female looking titan with blue hair and wearing a dress with red lining and gold shoulder pads, and she said, hello, Naruto. I take it you are the titan sealed in the ring, Naruto asked. I am the legendary titan of Fate arc, and I am sure you already know, you just saw the future arc said. I know, but why are you talking to me, seeing as I am not bonded to you nor anyone, Naruto asked. Well, I can see the fate of Uzumakas thanks to the seed that Overloss gave Lord Casterwill to give to someone that will not abuse it and will remain neutral, but I can get glimpses from those that touches my ring, arc said. I see, and what did you want to tell me, Naruto asked. Unlike other titans, I am able to choose my seekers, and I have deemed you worthy to wield me, but at the moment you are too weak to bond with me, but we will meet again, and the enemy of your and Casterwill returns, and before I go there are some titans hidden away in the room, you are so find them when your problem is over, Arc said before disappearing, which made Naruto's visions faded. And he was back in the room, and he was also sent back with a groan. Dante then said, we have to find a way to contain the ring, it's under a curse, and we must prevent it from falling into the hands of the organization. And how are we going to escape carrying her, Zhalia said. Yeah, and every time someone touches the ring that Arc doesn't like she goes nuts, so what do we do? There is no time, and we have to do something, and now, Chirrut said, as the ring was floating in a green light. Naruto starts to look around, and after about 10 minutes he noticed that a bit of the wall didn't match, and he said what the, then he starts to moving some of the stone, and he said, hey, I think there is another way out of here. That's good, so we don't need this one anymore, Zhalia said, as she walks over to the door. So what are you going to do, Naruto asked. This, Zhalia said before she said Taukram, and she blasted the door. Good idea, Naruto said. Then Dante came in carrying Sophie, and he said, Zhalia, take the ring, as he threw the ring to Zhalia. As Zhalia grabbed the ring, Naruto said, careful, Arc is very picky on who holds her amulet, just as Zhalia started to groan in pain. As Zhalia was groaning in pain, as she was floating in the air, she sees herself and 3 others in a wedding dress and Naruto in front of them, then she groaned out message, then the pain stopped, then she thought, so there will be 3 other that will be marrying Naruto, and I think I saw Sophie as one of them, but who are the other 2? Impressive, that's not a spell you see every day, Dante said, as Zhalia floated down, then he said, alright, everyone out the back way, then they all ran out the back. As they were running through the tunnels, Naruto asked, so what is the plan now, seeing as Sophie is, and I mean this in no offensive way, but is dead white as she is out of commission, and I don't think the spell that Zhalia used will last very long. You're right, with Minsage is a temporary fix when it comes to mind attack, and, as for how long it lasts, it all depends on the spell, and we need to find someplace until Sophie wakes up, Dante said. Then a few minutes later they found a place to hide. 10 minutes later Sophie was waking up, and she said, Dante, we did it, we beat them together. Then, as her vision clears, she sees Naruto. Sophie, thank God you're awake, Naruto said. Of course I'm awake, so what going on, Sophie asked. Well, at the moment we were just waiting on you, sleeping beauty, Zhalia said. Well, that is much of an insult, as I think Aurora is quite beautiful, Naruto said, getting a glare from Zhalia. Well, either it's good to have you awake, last Chariot said. Sophie looks around and sees the ring and asks, is that the ring of Arc then? As she said, as she examines it, something is wrong with it, I can feel it. Then a few moments later she said, it's cursed. Actually it's not, it just seemed that way. Arc has the ability to choose her wielder, and unless she chooses it feels like it's cursed, and if she does choose, the person has to be strong enough as well, Naruto said. And how do you know that, Zhalia said. Easy, Arc told me after she showed me the future, Naruto replied. Still can believe that you can do stuff that normal seekers shouldn't be able to do, Sophie said. And what would you do? Learn that the caster will's hatred for the Uzumakis, Zhalia thought. So if that's the case, then there is no way we can transport it without protection, Dante said. Then he turns to Sophie and asks, so do you know any spell that can help, Sophie? I do. Well, I know of one, but I have never used it, Sophie said. Well, I know you can do it, Naruto said, as put his arm around Sophie. Knock it off, will you, Sophie said, as she knocks Naruto's arm off her shoulder. Then she goes and begins to cast her spell, but the moment she begins to cast it she get visions. One was from her childhood, and it was the incident that took her parents. Then next one was Zhalia kicking her, the one after that was of Dante punching something, the one that came after that was of Sabriel crumbling. And the last one was of her in a wedding dress with 3 others, and she thought she recognized one of them. Then she heard Naruto asking to come back. Jared said, we know you can do it. After a few seconds Sophie said, bane bound. Then the ring glowed bright. As the rings glowed dim, Naruto said, well done, Sophie, you did it. Yeah, I did, but the spell would last about 30 minutes before the Arc cancels or overpowers my spell, Sophie said. Well, at least Arc won't be able to do anything, so that is good work, Sophie, Dante said. Then he pulls out his hologram. Then he said, a light seeker, we have a mission which we will call Joan of Arc's ring. The objective is simple, protect the ring from the organization and safely deliver it to a hunting safe house. Isn't Notre Dame a hunting safe house, so they should have one, right, Sophie said. Naruto leans closer to look at the hologram, as Dante had put it in map mode. Then he said, but look at all the suits, and I haven't seen that many bad suit since I was forced to watch the news channel, because my TV got stuck on that channel. We will never be able to get by them. That may be true, but if we split up then our chances might increase, and we can use the hologram to avoid the suits, Dante said. I get it, that way we can take the path less resistance, Naruto said. Then he asked, now the question, who get the ring? Good thing that I have few extra ring due to my disguise kit, so I changed their appearance with a spell, so now we have 4 ring, Zhalia said. That was smart thinking, Zhalia, because, as each one of us will have a ring, the organization don't know who to go after, Naruto said, praising his wife. But what if one of us gets captured? Their magic can take the information on who has the ring, Sophie said. I know that, and that is why I will be the only that knows who has the ring, Dante said, so we will go in 5 minutes. Then he turns to Zhalia and said, Zhalia, can you make one more ring? Sure I can, Zhalia said, as she pulls out another ring and changing it into another ring of Arc. Then, as she was handing it over, she asked, may I ask why you want another ring? The less you know the better, Dante said, as he took the ring. Then he went over to Naruto and asked, Naruto, can you summon mana? I don't mind, but why, Naruto said, asked. I have a plan, and for it to work I need your inner titan's help, that is all I will tell you at the moment, Dante said. Naruto's eyes glowed pink before saying, manifest dark magician girl. Hey Naruto, what can I do for you, Mana asked. Dante has a plan, and he needs your help for it, Naruto said before walking away. Then after the 5 minutes they all went their separate ways. As Dante was walking he said, Soulwing, then has it perched on his shoulder. After a bit more walking Dante sees 3 organization suits who all said, Dante Vale. I see that you organization suits are local, glad to see Defo has done some recruiting, as many people to help him, Dante said. What does it matter to you if he has one of the French suits asked. In that case I will be giving you 3 a chance to back out while you still can, after all, you have no idea on what you are getting yourself involved with, Dante said before walking away. This is ridiculous, one of the suits said before pulling out an amulet. Then said Jokel, and the titan resembles a devious ice trolls, and the titan had grey skinned, had horns and armored claws. Then the second suit said, Redcap. Why don't we clean this mess, Dante said, as he pulls out Caliban's amulet, and Soulwing goes after, and said, Caliban. Bet him, the first suit said before he and the other suits went for Dante, and Jokel charged at Caliban. Jokel was knocked back, then Redcap jumped at Caliban, but was defeated. Then the second suit said ray pulse and shot two at Dante, who dodged it then, and when the suit saw that Dante was okay, he gasps the Dante ran at him and punched him. Caliban was standing in front of his suit and was about to attack him, but his ankles was grabbed by Jokul, making the armored titan full, and, as the foe's titan jumps onto Caliban, Dante said soul wing, making the bird-type titan attack the enemy's titan, and defeating it. Then Dante kicks his suit, sending him to the wall, then said, so tell B, do you still want this? Then he hold up the ring of arc. No, not really, the suit said. That's good, now go and tell everyone that I have the ring of arc, Dante said, as he walks away. Meanwhile, in another area of the catacombs, Naruto was crawling through a tunnel when he said, as he moves a few little rocks out of the way, Chariot though here. Chariot flies though the opening and said, I don't think this was the way that Dante planned. You're properly right, but I am more interested in exploring this place, Naruto said, as he jumped down. Once he was on the floor below, B said, boy, would you look at this place, I don't think anyone has been down here since Joan of Arc's time. Then he starts to walk away. You know, Naruto, I am meant to be here, yo, keep you out of trouble, Chariot said. And how would you do that? Plus, did you really think that I would follow a route? Naruto asked. You're right, seeing as Dante has said multiple times now that you have taken after your mother, and he did say that she never did make plans and never did follow one if one was made, Chariot said. Bolt flare, Naruto said. There, to his surprise, there was a spark. Chariot sees this and said, I see you have been practicing your seeker magic. I have, after all. I want to be the best that I can, and I can't rely on particular set of skill, Naruto said before practicing some more. Then after some time he is able to use the spell. Then they continued looking around. Then as they pass a sign, Naruto said, hey, a sign, let's see what it says. Then he holds bolt flare up to the then he said, liberty, equality, brotherhood. Where have I heard that before? I think it's to do with French Revolution. I don't know much about human history, but even I know, the Chariot said. Well, that's good to know, so let's look inside, Naruto said, as he went into the room. Then, as he sees the skeletons, then he said, I take it these guys came down here to hide while the revolution was going on. Then he sits next to one of the skeletons, then he releases a sigh. Hey, what's on your mind, Naruto? Chariot asked. It's kind of hard to explain. When I was a kid and Sandra was looking after me and her daughter Ethan would travel, and every time he returns he would tell us what he did on his travels, and then we would talk about all the secret places he could have gone to, Naruto said. Well, here you are, Chariot said. Yeah, here I am, Naruto said. Then he makes the light fly away. Then he says, as he sees one of the skeletons was different from the others and starts to walk over to it, hey, check this guy out. Looking at it, Chariot said, this was no soldier. I can see that Naruto was looking at a box with tools in. Then said, as he picked them up, then he said, these look at tools that people use for archaeology. How well do you think these soldiers knew their way around the catacombs? Can't really say when you have been around as long as I have. Things like wars and revolutions all blur together. I see, Naruto said before kneeling down and checking the chest. Then he fiddles with the lock, then said, shame, I was hoping that after all these years the lock would easy to break, and with a shrug he said, oh well, this is a good time for my new friend. Then he pulls out his new amulet, then said, Springer. When the fox-like titan manifested, it looks at Naruto and asked, what can I do for you? I need you to sort out the lock that is on this chest, Naruto said. Alright, Springer said before going over to the chest, pulled the lock, then he starched its head before putting one of its claws inside the lock and picks it. Then when it was unlocked, he said, there you go. Thanks for the help, Naruto said, as Springer went back into his amulet. Then he opens the chest and there was book. Then he said, these people was normal soldiers, they were just normal people and they needed a guide down here. So this man is or was an archaeologist, Chariot said, as Naruto picked up a book, but it crumbled into dust, making Naruto cough. Naruto looks at the remaining books and sees a scroll, then said, hey, this one seems to be in better shape. Then he picks the scroll and opens it, and on it there was a drawing, and Naruto said, hey, I have seen this thing before, but where? Naruto, do you think it was in Ethan's journal? Why not take a look, Chariot said. You know what, you could be right, Naruto said, as he pulls out the journal out of his pouch. Then he opens it and looks through it, and upon finding it he said, bingo, Ethan had a copy of this drawing, so it has to be important. Before he could wonder what the symbol means, he heard someone say, hey, there is a light over here. Oh, got to go, Naruto said, as he get up with the scroll in hand and runs over to the door with Chariot putting a bucket on the magical light. Then he looks out the door to see 3 suits wearing visors and 2 red caps. Then he thinks, okay, I can't really beat them with skill alone, seeing as I have been a seeker for a month. Then he remembers that he has some rope and I need your help. What do you need? Chariot asked. Think you can lift a skeleton? Naruto asked. That I can, Chariot replied. Great, Naruto said before pulling the rope out and cutting it in 2 and tying around. Then he said, now I need you to take this end and make it look like that it's running. Then he pulls out 2 amulets and said, Freelancer, Kiprin, and then Freelancer went to hide while Naruto took to the roof with him and Chariot hold one of the skeletons each. After a minute or two the 3 suits entered and one of them asked, where is he? Then one of them sees something move, then said there he is, then he and another cast Dodger Frost. The two spells hit their target, but it turned out to be a skeleton, and the skull landed near them. One of the suit picks it up and said it was just a skeleton. Then the last one sees something move, then said there he is, then he redcap leaped at the object which turned out to be another skeleton. The second suit said he is trying to distract us so he can escape. Then, as they turn around to see their second redcap get destroyed by Freelancer, then she said we are under attack. Naruto flies in and kicks one of them, then said hey, I take offense to that remark. I would never run away from people that enjoys bullying a teen, because I have something that I have to protect. Then he shows them the ring before flying around. He has the ring, the second suit said. Then they start firing spells at him. Then, as the last one was running after Naruto, she didn't see the Freelancer put his lance out and she ran into it. Then the redcap came up behind and attacked Freelancer. Naruto was leading around when he noticed they went looking where they were going, so he made them run into a desk. Then the Uzumaki said, what do you think, Chariot? Because it seems that the professor don't have much to be desired when he recruits the new seekers, because everyone in the organization seems to be an idiot, before flying away. You're properly right about that, Chariot said before spotting something. Then he said Naruto Freelancer is in trouble. Great, as he is my only attack titan at the moment because Dante needed mana for something. Naruto said what can we do? Chariot thinks of a solution, then said I could try and give him an energy bath. Great, what will that do? Naruto said. It will give him a bit of a charge like this, Chariot said before flying over and blasted the redcap, then landed in front of Freelancer before blasting him before collapsing. Naruto picks the talking titan up and said, as Freelancer was standing up, don't worry Chariot, I have you. Then he pulls out Freelancer's amulet and said Freelancer return. Then when the knight returned to its amulet, Naruto said now then let's get out of here before running out the room. Meanwhile with Zhalia and Sophie, who was both walking together, and Sophie said why are you being kind to me? Because you are a friend of my husband, and if I want Naruto to like me then I need to be kind to his friends, Zhalia said. Plus there is the fact that you might end up with Naruto, but break his heart, and I don't dare. If you are one for Naruto I will kill her. I see Zhalia after this mission is over, we need to talk, Sophie said. I take it Ark showed you something, Zhalia said, but before Sophie could do or say anything Zhalia noticed there was 4 ahead of them, so she quickly said Sophie, seeing as you are still weak, I will distract them so you can get past, and before Sophie could protest Zhalia went ahead. After a few minute, Zhalia, who was disguised as an organization suit, ran past with 3 real suits. Then she said, I guess it's safe now, before resting a bit. Then said Boltfleur. Then once the light was floating around she said, I guess Zhalia was right, I casting that took far more effort than it should have been, before staggering in a direction before finding some ladders and going up them. When Sophie got to the top she started to walk again, then she noticed something, then she said it looks like they have been through here. Then she came to a dead end on some stairs, there was a shake that made her lose her balance, and she went over and down the hall. But luckily she managed to get a hold of a ledge. Then she tried to do something, she said it's no use, I am too tired to do anything to keep hold. Then she noticed that the brick that she was holding was breaking, and, as a last ditch effort she managed to grab onto it and was hold onto it with both hands. Then she shouted, Dante, Naruto, anyone help. Meanwhile not too far away Naruto was walking around when she heard Sophie, then said that was Sophie. And it sounded like it came from down there, Chariot said, as he pointed the way. Then they both went in that direction. Once he was at the pit Naruto looked inside, then said well now this is what I am talking about, saving damsels in distress. This isn't a joking matter, Naruto, I am still too weak to use my spells, and I am slipping, so hurry up and get me out of here, Sophie said. Can do, but you have to let go, Naruto said. Are you crazy, Sophie said, but she lost her grip and began to fall. Naruto sees Sophie falling and said, as he jumps in Sophie, as Naruto was falling he grabbed Sophie, as his grimoire opened and flipped to the only spell that in there, and Naruto said Fles, then he flew up while carrying Sophie. When Naruto landed they was met with a few organization suits, and one of them said look, make this easy on yourself and give up because there is no escape. Naruto looks down at Sophie, who he was still carrying, and said well looks like was the only one that hurt you. Well you shouldn't have come, it could have been a trap to get to you, seeing as the organization wants you for some reason, Sophie said. That might be true, but I knew it was you because I really don't think they know you that well, Naruto said. And how did you know that, Sophie asked. Easy, while you were calling for help you first called for Dante, then it was me, then anyone, but you never called for Zhalia, as you don't like her, Naruto said. Before Sophie could say anything the suit said enough of your stalling, and give us the ring. Oh, is that all you want? Sorry, but I'm not into guys, but I am sure you will make some guy very happy, Naruto said, getting a giggle from Sophie. That is not what I meant, you fucking brat, why the professor wants you I don't know, the suit shouted with a red face at the implementation at what Naruto said. Then he took a breath, then said so give yourself up and hand us the ring of Arc. Well, the ring of arc I can give, but I won't go with you, Naruto said as he threw his ring to the man and was about to run. Sophie sensed that Naruto was about to run, then said, Naruto, wait for a moment, and when Naruto relaxed, she turned to the suits and said, here, take mine as well. Then she turned back to Naruto and said, you can go now, Naruto. Then Naruto ran out the room. Well, what are you waiting after them? We still need the boy, the older suit said, with them all running after them, not noticing that they just passed a hidden tunnel. Back with Dante, who was looking around, sees Grier. Then he said, Grier, just who I was looking. Then he pulls out his amulet and does a coin toss with it and places eye on the back of his hand. Then said, Caliban. Then the titan lands in front of Grier. He quickly pulls out his amulet and said, assault breaker. Then the two titans charged at each other and Dante's titan made quick work of breaker. Then Grier said, you're too late. Then he pulls out another amulet and said, redcap. Then the redcap tackled Caliban. Let's even up a score, Dante said as he pulls out another amulet. Then said, freelancer. Then the titans started to fight as well as two humans. Then after blocking a few blows each, Dante managed to get some distance between him and Grier. Then he said, you know, Grier, I get the feeling that there is more to you than what people know, so what aren't you telling me? This coming from the person that is hiding something from everybody, Grier said before charging at Dante. Then as he was charging he said, Dragon Fist. Well, then come and get me, Dante said before jumping out the way, making Grier punch the wall. Then he said, well, standing upside down, nice, that is some power, not bad. Then he goes right side up, then said Raples and shot at the roof, making it collapse on the bear titan. Then he said, I see that your focus today is it because we don't have an audience only to be punched in the face. And into a tombstone and drop the ring of arc. Grier sees the ring and said as he picks it up, I am only following orders and that is all. Well, you have me, Dante said like nothing had happened. Grier examined the ring before biting it and breaking it. Then he said, another fake, so that means there is one more ring, before walking away. Once Grier was gone, Dante gets up and said as he dusted himself off, well, looks like my plan is going better than I expected. Then he walks away. Meanwhile, Zhalia was running down some stairs and said, there is the exit. Then all of a sudden 3 suits was in front of her and one of them said, not so fast, you foundation scum, we know who you are. Do you really think so? Zhalia said. Bray pulse, the 3 suit said. Shadow speed, Zhalia said before jumping out of the way as the 3 spells collided. Then she snuck up behind one of them and put him to sleep, making the other 2 to turn around. Stop her, the female suit said as Zhalia jumped up. Then the suit said Ray, but she didn't finish as Zhalia kicked her. Then the last of the suit said, put him up. Inside, Zhalia said. Then as the suit was attacking, Zhalia said, give it up, I know where you are going to punch before you do. But the suit tried again, only to be kicked back. Then she walks away. The suit gets up and says, those powers, you must be. Who cares who I am after all? You won't remember this encounter, Zhalia said as she turns around. Then said with her hand up, simple mind. Then she runs out, but a bolt rushes past her, forcing her to stop and say what the. Then she turns around to see Defo with 3 suits as well as Krudik and 2 redcaps manifested. Well, now that's a shame, Zhalia Moon, you was so close to bad, Defo said. Come on then, but you should know that while you're wasting time with me, Dante is escaping with the ring, Zhalia said. Oh, is that so? But here is the kicker, I know you have the real ring, because we already have caught the others, Defo said, making Zhalia worry about Naruto before Defo continues, so now we just have to search you and get it and then capture the boy, though he has proven to be far more elusive than anticipated. That's good, Zhalia thought, then said, can't those idiots do anything right? Destroy her, Defo ordered, and the 3 suits started to fire spells at Zhalia. Meanwhile, with Naruto and Sophie, who was walking, trying I find a way out, and Sophie said, I have to say that some quick thinking, giving the rings away like that was pretty gutsy for someone who hates tests. And how did you know about that secret passageway? I knew about that passageway because that was how I got to you, Naruto said. Well, that was lucky on our part. Now why did you hand over your ring like that? Sophie said asked. There were 2 things on how I knew I didn't have the real one, Naruto said. And how did you know that? Sophie asked. I don't know, but I think it could be something to do with my heritage, Naruto said. That could be it, seeing as there are only 2 people that know more about your family history won't tell you a thing, Sophie said. True, but then there is the fact that they might not be able to say due to them being outsiders after all. Would you tell anyone that was outside your family some caster will spell, even if you are married? Naruto said. Sophie thinks about what Naruto had said, then she said, I see your point, and you are right, so what was the other thing? Oh, did you really think Dante would give me or you the ring? Naruto said. You do have a point there, seeing as you both are his responsibility and having the ring would put you in danger, Chariot said. Well, seeing as we don't have the fake ring, we aren't good at decoys and the organization is still after you, so we might as well get topside, Sophie said. Naruto looks at his watch, then said, I don't think that is a good idea at the moment, seeing as there is 5 minutes left, so we have to see that Dante or Zhalia are fine. And with 5 minutes left they will not make it out before Arc Break Musil, Sophie said. Right, so we better go and find them, Naruto said, and with a nod from Sophie, they both start to run. Back with Zhalia, who was doing her best to dodge the attacks, then she said fight for your lady, then she pulls out one of her amulets and said kill Thane. Well, what are you fools doing, attack her, Defo said. Jokel, one of the suit said. Redcap, another suit said. I know your type, Defo, you have had an easy life, isn't that right, Zhalia said. Surround her, Defo ordered, ignoring the question. And because of that you think that you are better than everyone else, and you think because of that you think you deserve to let everyone else, Zhalia said. Better, Defo said before he and two other fired the same spell at Zhalia, but Kilthane blocked the spell. Zhalia turns around and sees a redcap crawling down a pillar, then she said impale them, Strix, and 3 bugs came out the amulet and 2 of them went to 2 redcaps and the last one was heading for Defo. Defo sees the last bug titan flying at him, so he said assist me, and the Jokel jumps in front of him and gets impaled. Then the other redcaps went to attack Zhalia, but was defended by Kilthane. Then Krutik sprayed acid on him, making the armor titan collapse. Then Defo said, is that all you have, Miss Moon, no more subterfuge. Then Caliban showed up and took out the redcaps. Then Dante walks up behind Zhalia and said, I have to say, for a small-minded man that sure was a big word. Then he turns to Zhalia and said, you okay? I am fine, and I tried to keep them busy, Zhalia said. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sophie was running through the tunnels when Naruto said, we have to hurry as there is only 2 minutes left. Back with Dante and Zhalia, just give him the ring, Zhalia. You sure about that, Zhalia asked. I am, Dante said. Then Zhalia threw the ring at Defo. Defo picks up the ring, then said, it can't be, this ring is just another fake, which one of you had the real ring of Arc? Before Dante could answer, Naruto, Sophie and Chariot came running. Dante, time is almost over. There is no need to worry, Naruto, because the ring is at the safe house and it got there 10 minutes ago, Dante said. So that's why you asked me to make the extra ring, Zhalia said. And asked for mana with her powers, Naruto said. That can't be true, Defo said. It was actually easy, seeing as Naruto's titan was able to get out of here relative ease because of her magic, and she made it to the safe house with plenty of time, Dante said. Then that would mean, Defo said, as he realized what that means. That means you have love well before you realized it, Dante said. Now that is the good old Dante Veil touch, Chariot said. Oh yeah, we did it, Naruto said, as he gave Sophie a high five. If I can't have you, then I will just have to take the boy, Defo said, as he powers up a cell. Oh, and another, Defo, there was another thing about my little strategy that I planned just for you, Dante said. Oh, and please tell me, what would that be, Defo asked. Your forces are scattered thought out the catacombs while mine are right here, Dante said, as he and the team walked up toward Defo. The suits that was behind Defo decided to leg it, then Defo said, you useless cowards. Then he turns to Dante, then said, next time, Dante Veil. Then he runs off with Krutik following. Let him go, as we have business to take care of, Dante said to Zhalia as she was getting ready to attack. Then they left the catacombs. When they got to the safe house, they was met with the one that took the ring from Mana, who Naruto returned, and Dante said, I see you got my message. I did, even though had no idea what was going, but I prepared the reliquary and it seems to be holding, and even though you didn't ask, I did the necessary test and we think that it's just an ordinary cursed ring, the man said. That's because it's Arc's way for protecting the ring from those she doesn't find not worthy, Naruto said, as he was looking through some books before looking at Sophie and asked, are you sure this is the only way to learn new spell? Before Sophie could answer, the man asked, how do you know that it's an amulet and not just a ring? Naruto looks at the man and said, because the legendary titan of fate Arc told me. The man then said, but you haven't bonded with the ring yet, how is that possible? Well, according to Arc, Overloss gave something to Lord Casterwill and told him to give it to someone that he trusts that will not abuse the power as well as remain neutral, Naruto said before walking over to Sophie. He was about to stop Naruto, but Dante stopped him and Dante said, don't bother asking, because Naruto doesn't know anything about being an Uzumaki. Everything that he knows is because someone has told him, myself included. Then he sees Naruto leaving and asked, where are you going, Naruto? Naruto turns to face Dante, then said, oh, I just need to do something back in the catacombs. And what would that be, Zhalia asked. Arc told me about some amulets that was hidden away in the room where we found the ring, Naruto replied. I see, do you need help, Dante asked. Nah, I should be fine, Naruto said before leaving. Zhalia then goes over to Sophie and said, maybe we should have that talk now. Sophie nods, then they both left the room. Then Sophie said, so what did Arc show you? She showed me marrying Naruto with 3 other girls, and I think you was one of them, Zhalia said. She did the same with me and thought the same with you, but who are the other 2, Sophie asked. I don't know, but what I do know is that some point we will see them at some point, Zhalia said. Then they fell into a comfortable chat. After a few hours, Naruto returned carrying a box and something that looked like a hologram, but it was blue, looked Japanese. Then Sophie said, you're back, did you find what you was looking for? Naruto nodded and said I did as well this then he hands over the tome. Sophie examines the time then her eyes went wide then she asked where did you get the cipher dex? 1. What's a cipher dex and 2. I found it while looking for this Naruto said then hold up the box and inside was 7 amulets. The cipher dex is basically a more advanced version of a hologram Sophie said then she opened the time, then did something, then it said access denied, then the error said what how can that be the cipher dex? Sophie then hands it over to Naruto then it said access granted then a female's head showed up on the cipher dex and she said greetings fellow Uzumaki I am Joan Uzumaki or you may know me as my nickname Joan of Arc my father was an Uzumaki who married my mother and I am one of triplets and we all had the same titan so he told us that it has happened before. And there was a spell that can temporarily fuse them together and this fusion is common with our kind within the Uzumaki clan and in my cipher dex is all the things that Papa had taught me about how to be a true Uzumaki as well as spells hope you live up to the Uzumaki expectations that comes with being part of our noble clan then she faded from screen. So Joan was an Uzumaki Naruto said then he pulls out one of the amulets. Dante walks in to see Naruto about to scan an amulet then said I see you're back Naruto. Just got back actually and found out that Joan was actually an Uzumaki and she had siblings that had the same titan as her and the titans could fuse together with a spell unique to the Uzumakis and now I am seeing what these titans are Naruto said as he held up the box. I see well then proceed Dante said. Naruto nods then holds one of the amulets then said I will do this one seeing as it's the triple then he places it on the cipher dex. The cipher dex scanned the amulet then said. Blue eyes white dragon attack. 4. Defense. 3. Type. Gaia Titan Warrior. Size. Large. Cool sound powerful Naruto said then he scanned the others. Attack. 1. Defense. 1. Type. Meso Titan Scout. Size. Small. Special ability. Multiply, detonation. Naruto then takes the amulet then places another on it. Winged Kurobo attack. 1. Defense. 1. Type. Meso Titan Scout. Size. Small. Special ability. Flight. Naruto then did the same. Attack. 1. Defense. 1. Type. Meso Titan Scout. Size. Small. Special ability. Healing. Then Naruto placed the last titan on the cipher dex. Babylon attack. 3. Defense. 2. Type. Meso Titan Scout. Size. Small. Special ability. Separation. Well looks like you have some small yet power new titan Naruto Dante said then he see the other 2 blue eyes white dragon then he asked so what do you plan to do with the other 2 amulets? Naruto looks at the 2 amulets then said I don't know give me some time to think. Fair enough seeing as they are powerful and who knows how powerful if combined Dante said. Naruto nods at that then he turns to Zhalia then said so how about we have that chat now then both he and Zhalia left the room. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.